Hi, welcome to Grandma Lillian's Kitchen. Today we're going to be cooking oatmeal drop cookies. Now, these are not like any oatmeal cookies that I've ever made, so I'm really excited to try them because I love oatmeal cookies. So what we're going to start with is a half a cup of softened shortening, a half a cup of white sugar, half a cup of brown sugar, 1 egg well beaten, 1.5 tablespoons of molasses, a teaspoon of vanilla, 1 1/4 cups of flour, a half a teaspoon of salt, and a half a teaspoon of baking soda, a 1.5 cups of rolled oats, not instant oatmeal, just your old-fashioned oats, and a cup of prunes. The recipe says cooked, drained, and cut up. And I remember when I was a kid eating prunes, they were a little harder than you can get now. The bag that I have here, I hadn't eaten prune in a long time, and I took one and they are so soft, so I don't really think there's any need to cook them. The recipe also calls for a small amount of prune juice, and since I didn't cook them, and I'm presuming that the extra prune juice would be for moisture, I'm actually using 2 tablespoons of molasses instead of 1.5, just to get a little bit more moisture in there. You could probably put a teaspoon of water in there. I'm not really sure it's going to make a difference, but I just, to get the extra moisture from the prune juice, I went with an extra half tablespoon of molasses. So we're going to go ahead and start mixing everything up. So we'll start with the half cup of shortening, softened. And then get the white sugar and the brown sugar in there. That's sticking. Come on. All right, and then the egg. And once I get that egg in there, I think I'm going to give it a little bit of a mix. Just so I'm not fighting all these ingredients in the end. Oh yeah, you definitely want to keep your shortening soft, because this could be a real bear if it was just out of the fridge. I did soften it in a little bit in the microwave. I don't use Crisco, I use lard. Personal preference, Crisco's fine, or any other kind of vegetable shortening. Just some kind of fat in there. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and add the vanilla and the molasses. Hopefully that will be enough moisture. Oh, I almost want to lick that. In fact, I will. The baking soda and salt. And get the oats in there. Just get this all mixed up. I don't know that that's going to be enough moisture. This is really kind of dry. But we will see. All right, it is very dry. Once I get this mixed, it says drop by teaspoon about 2 inches apart on a greased heavy baking sheet. Well, we have it easy. We're spoiled now. We can use parchment paper or even silicone baking sheets. You don't have to do a greased baking sheet. I don't have any silicone bakeware, but if anybody does and wants to share with me whether they like it or not, that would be interesting, because I've never used it. All right, these are going to be kind of crumbly. It's very, very dry. So let me go ahead and add the prunes, get them all mixed in. And then we'll get it all spread out on the cookie sheet and throw it in the oven and see what we come back with. If you don't like prunes or you don't have prunes, I would imagine you can use raisins. I would go for a softer raisin, maybe some nice golden raisins. And if you don't like raisins, oh, my hand's getting tired. If you don't like raisins, throw some nuts in there or leave them out entirely. But you may need to make up the moisture in one way or another. So if you wanted to add just a little bit of some kind of juice or a little bit of water or something, I don't think that would hurt anything. Because again, we have a very crumbly mix. I'm just gonna roll with it. We're gonna see what we get. Ooh. It is wearing my hand out. All right, so we are gonna drop it by teaspoon. I'm gonna have to eyeball the teaspoon. Onto the little cookie sheet, parchment lined. It's a little more than a teaspoon. We'll make them small. There we go. I also think back in the day, they made their cookies smaller, like tea cookies, not like the big honking cookies that we get today. I think. So I'm going to keep these small. And they are very crumbly. All right. I'm not going to worry about the little renegade oats that are dropping everywhere. We're just going to let them go where they want. Come on. And again, these are not uniform at all. I try and keep them close to the same size, but sometimes you just get what you get. And I'm not gonna sweat it. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and pop these in the oven, 400 degrees for 10 minutes. When I get them out, I'll be back. Wow, so the first batch is out. These smell so good. I'm gonna let them cool before I try them, but I'm gonna pop them on a little baking rack to cool them. I don't want them to cook too much longer because of the high temperature and all of the sugar in there. I think they may burn easily, but these just smell absolutely delicious. One thing I was thinking though, excuse me, was if it's got molasses and oats and what else was there in there? Oh, the prunes, molasses, oats, and prunes. Could this be considered a health food? Just kind of curious. Seriously, I'm thinking not because of all of the sugar and the shortening or fat or whatever in here, but still, it's a fun thought. Anyway, let's get these all on the rack to cool a little more. And that last one is going in my mouth. Ooh, they're soft. They're falling apart soft. We'll have to see what they're like when they cool down. They're really interesting. That's not what I would consider a normal or traditional oatmeal cookie, but they're good. So when it cools down, I'm going to try it again. I'll share that with you. Back soon. All right, the last batch is in the oven. I got about 4 dozen cookies out of this. When they cooled down, and I could actually taste it a little bit better, some of the sugar has caramelized, so it's got a nice crunch to it. They're a little dry, so if you don't have prune juice and you think your batter looks dry, put in a splash of maybe some apple juice. I would think that would be a good addition to moisten the dough, or moisten your dough mix a little bit. But they're good cookies. I gave one to my partner in crime, and while I had my back turned, he came in the kitchen and took 3 more. So that, to me, that speaks volumes. They are not a traditional oatmeal cookie. They're different, but they're really good. So I hope you try them. I hope you enjoy them, and I'll see you next time. Bye.